The story begins by featuring a geeky nerd named Matthew Miller. At that time, Matt was anxious because his mother transferred him to a new school. In fact, at his old school, Matt had gotten a scholarship and had several friends. The reason his mother moved Matt to the school was because she had just married a man. So his mother had to follow wherever her new husband went. Besides disliking his stepfather, Matt was also afraid of being bullied at his new school. On his first day, he had already received a less than warm welcome twice from a student named Nick Worthlin. Although Nick was not insolent, Nick would later become Matt's best friend at the school, who would always defend him. Nick also introduces Matt to a girl named Ruby. Not long after, the two invited Matt to join an exclusive club at the school. Because it was bad to refuse, inevitably, Matt finally had to follow the will of them to become a member of the club. Nick asked Matt to take Teresa Turrell, the head cheerleader at the school, out on a date with him. Not long after, Matt immediately went to Teresa and asked her out on a date as Nick ordered. However, suddenly Teresa's boyfriend named Hector Torres came to her. Hector, who did not accept his girlfriend being teased by the geeky guy, immediately gave Matt a beating right away. In the evening, Matt returned home and organized his belongings. Not long after, his stepfather came to take his son's heart. At that time, Matt was seen putting up a photo of a boxer who was none other than his own grandfather in his younger days. Seeing that Matt liked boxing, his stepfather also gave Matt a book containing the life journey of a famous boxer named Muhammad Ali. Matt looked very happy to receive the book. Too happy, he brought the book with him wherever he went. Unbeknownst to him, Hector, who was not enough satisfied with beating him up yesterday, suddenly brought a group of cool kids to bully him. Unexpectedly, this incident was seen by the school janitor named Dan Barnes. Unable to stand the bullying out, Barnes approached them and asked Hector to clean up what he had just done. From this, it was evident that Hector and the boys were very scared of the man. At the same time, Barnes accidentally saw the boxing book in Matt's hand. He suspected that Matt liked boxing and suggested that Matt join boxing at the school. Not accepting Barnes' scolding, Hector and his gang came back to Matt and tried to bully him again. Seeing Matt in danger, Nick came and defended his friend. So there was an argument between them. As a result of this incident, Matt and Nick were blamed and they had to receive a score for 1 week as a punish. Later that night, Matt apparently thought about Barnes' offer, and finally he had the courage to ask his mother for permission to join the boxing club. Hearing this request, his mother immediately went berserk, because from the beginning his mother did not like this. Not being allowed to join the boxing club for no reason, Matt turned angry at his mother, because all this time he had been following his mother's orders. It wasn't long before his mother came to Matt and told him the real reason. She felt that boxing was a very dangerous sport. She did not want her son to end up just like his father. His mother wanted Matt to have a normal life. However, Matt's reason for joining the boxing club and becoming a boxer was not just for cool. However, he wanted to protect himself from bullying and follow in the footsteps of his grandfather, who was a champion. Unfortunately, this reason was also unacceptable to his mother. The next day, Matt secretly went to the boxing club at the school. At first, he was amazed and happy because he felt he had a place to channel and improve his talent. Before training, the coach, Harward, told him that in the near future, they would be organizing a competition called IBA. The school would select the best 2 people to make the team. While Harward was talking, Hector and his friend Joe Fielder, who was the golden boy and a member of the club, suddenly arrived. This made Matt very scared. He finally dropped his intention to join and tried to get out from there. Seeing Matt wanting to leave, Barnes immediately blocked him and asked Matt not to stop there. For starters, Harward asked Hector and Joe to show their skills in front of everyone. After the time was up, Harward asked Hector to fight Matt. Of course, Matt was not surprised, as he had never practiced boxing before. However, like it or not, Matt had to follow the coach's orders and fight the man. After the training was over, Matt, who was now battered and expelled from the club, could only lie down on the training ground. Not long after, Barnes came to him and asked Matt not to give up. At that time, Matt was curious why Barnes was so enthusiastic about helping him. Apparently, Barnes used to be a geeky kid like Matt, but because of training and hard work, Barnes eventually turned into a fighter and won several boxing fights. Matt was curious why Barnes did not continue his profession as a boxer. It turned out that Barnes chose to become a cleaner to support his family. He felt that boxing did not bring him enough money, so he only considered boxing as a means of fun. Hearing Barnes' explanation, Matt was amazed by the man's way of thinking. Finally, Matt asked Barnes to teach him how to play boxing properly. Without lingering, Barnes finally showed Matt how to be a boxer properly. Since then, after school, Matt always met Barnes in his room and asked him to teach him to practice boxing. In addition to practicing in the room, Barnes also asked Matt to exercise diligently to make his physique stronger. While running, Matt suddenly felt dizzy, and Barnes was curious about what happened. It turned out that Matt was a leukemia sufferer. This is why his mother never liked boxing, because it was too dangerous for her son. His mother hoped that one day Matt would grow up to be a doctor or lawyer. Hearing this, Barnes could not blame Matt's mother entirely. If he was in Matt's position, he would have listened to his mother's advice. But even so, Barnes gave the young man another path. He said Matt could be a boxer and whatever he wanted to be at the same time. So Matt doesn't have to be afraid to give up his dreams, even though he doesn't have his mother's blessing. However, Barnes was still willing to help Matt train to become a great fighter, which made Matt feel excited. Since then, Matt has also started to change his appearance, which makes him look much cooler. In fact, since then, Matt's mentality has also been trained. He began to dare to ignore when Hector tried to bully him. Hector, who was annoyed that Matt was ignoring him, tried to trap the man. He lied to Matt by saying Harward allowed him to go back into the club. Matt, who didn't suspect them at all, immediately believed them and went to the training ground with Hector. Once there, they suddenly asked Matt to get into the ring to fight Hector. Not long after, Barnes came to stop them, but Hector didn't accept it and insulted Barnes, who worked as a cleaner. Not accepting this, Barnes taught Hector a lesson, but it wasn't long before Harward, who seemed to be on Hector's side, came and defended his foster child. After that, Harward came to Barnes and promised Hector that he would not do that again to Matt. However, Barnes was not satisfied and asked Hector to receive the punishment he deserved for beating the boy. Harward replied that he couldn't punish him because Hector was the golden boy at the school, but Barnes couldn't take that excuse for granted and asked for something in return. Barnes also asked Harward to allow Matt to fight with Hector at the ABA event later, because if not, Barnes threatened to report this incident to the school so that Hector would get the punishment he deserved. Not wanting that to happen, Harward agreed to the request, but on one condition: Matt's parents must approve of their son participating in the fight. Meanwhile, in a different place, Matt was seen starting to be deterred by the world of boxing. Matt even avoided Barnes. Barnes, who realized this, immediately looked for him and immediately said that he had registered Matt into the match. Suddenly, Matt was shocked and afraid that his life would end up in Hector's hands. But Barnes tried to calm the boy down. He promised to continue training Matt until he brought him to victory. Without lingering, Barnes asked Matt to clean up his books and train him right now. During this training, Barnes began to see significant changes in Matt. He continued to progress and was very confident that Matt could defeat Hector. Barnes was even willing to take Matt to an official training ground for sparring. After training, Matt immediately went home and thought about how to get his parents' signatures. Feeling that his mother would not allow him to participate in the match, Matt finally forged his stepfather's signature. The next day, after school, Matt went back to Barnes, but unfortunately, the man was not there. Matt chose to train alone. After that, Matt returned home and found his homeroom teacher already there. His homeroom teacher came there to clarify whether his parents really allowed Matt to participate in the match. Knowing that Matt had forged his stepfather's signature made both of them furious. Not only that, apparently Barnes, who illegally coached Matt, was also fired from his job. Hearing this, Matt immediately went berserk and did not accept their treatment. He felt guilty because Barnes had lost his job just for helping him. Seeing Matt's frustration, his mother relented and allowed Matt to participate in the match on one condition, which was not to be coached by Barnes. However, Matt did not accept this decision. That's because he thinks Barnes understands boxing better than Harward as the coach at their school. An angry Matt left the house and went looking for Barnes' whereabouts. Eventually, he found the man's location. Apparently, after being fired from school, Barnes worked as a ship cleaner at the dock. Matt immediately said he was going there and apologized for getting Barnes fired from his job. In addition, Matt also admitted that he could not continue the fight without Barnes' help. Barnes was quite disappointed with Matt's decision. He said that Matt had to fight alone. After all, in the ring, Matt also fought alone without any companion. Matt finally admitted that he was actually scared of fighting Hector. Barnes says this is what Hector wants from him. Hector even hoped that Matt would not participate in the fight, so that he would still be crowned champion. So, like it or not, Matt must continue the fight and show his best. After hearing Barnes' explanation, Matt was re-energized and wanted to continue the fight. Time passed and the match day arrived. The fight would be witnessed by their family and close friends. Seeing that Matt was nervous, Hector and Joe came to destroy him mentally. But at that moment, Matt tried to fight off the punks. Not accepting Matt's resistance, Hector threatened to finish him in the boxing ring. Not long after, the referee called for the participants to enter the arena. And unexpectedly, Barnes was also there to support Matt. Not only Barnes, Matt's grandfather also came all the way from Florida to watch his grandson's fight. Before starting this fight, the referee asked other participants to fight first. This time, Joe was asked to fight someone first. Seeing Joe's defeat in the ring made Matt's fear even more intense, but Barnes' words kept ringing in his head, which made him more confident. Not long after, the referee finally called Matt and Hector to the ring. They would be asked to fight for 3 minutes and split into 3 sessions. Hector dominated the early rounds, although Matt did try to keep up. But after the whistle blew for them to stop, Hector deliberately attacked the boy. Seeing his grandson struggling on his own, his grandfather stepped in to give him tips. Not long after, the second half of the match finally began. Seeing that Matt was no longer able to fight Hector, Barnes was worried enough to get out of his seat. He tried to give directions and how to knock out the opponent. Not long after, the bell rang and the two resumed the fight. Who would have thought Matt ended up winning the 3rd round of the fight, knocking Hector out? Everyone who was there screamed in celebration of this victory. Not long after, the judges finally announced the winner. But who would have thought it was Hector who was declared the winner, having excelled in the previous 2 rounds. Although Matt lost the battle, he was still included in the team to replace Hector, who will graduate next year. As soon as the event was over, Barnes left and went on with his life. He really hopes to meet Matt again. With Matt's in a good development, the movie ended.